Good morning. Okay, we are on page Kuf Nun Hey, Oy Samach Aleph. And the Rebbe is saying that even though the makif of Odom Kadmon cannot possibly be bihislabshus with a in the world with the effect on the Epnimi, so that its presence would be actually felt and sensed and recognized in the world. Because, as we explained before, it's a supreme level, and that the world cannot possibly sense it. Nonetheless, what we call ha'oras gilu is the ha'ora. The ha'ora means the effect of this gilu. I'm all the time trying to find a way to identify the principle of a ha'ora.
Before that, nonetheless, this ha'ara or effect is what? Is sensed, is enclosed in pnimi?
Is present and is effective. Is effective.
As well as sensed or not?
It's effective due to the fact that it's sensed. But he doesn't know what he's sensing. Because a ha'ara is not something that you can pin down and explain what it is. It has the effect of its presence without knowing what it is that affects it. Ha'ara is a extremely subtle thing. I was just not thinking a way to explain, to identify the concept of a ha'ara.
So we're saying it senses b'pnimi, the ha'ara.
Yeah, it senses it. Right. That's why he said that's why they see the snappish and so forth. That's why it's possible to hear the snappish.
But that ha'ara is a consequence of the makif of Adam Kadmon.
That's right. It's a present to our Maryam,
which cannot be sensed directly.
That's correct.
Only through the ha'ara.
Only at the level of a ha'ara. Very difficult to identify the principle of the ha'ara. Effectively, if we should, so to speak, break it down and identify how it functions. So I thought of various different ways of presenting it, but let's present it in a way that we are very familiar with. We know that the AYIN that was created, the light that was created the first day of creation, had no luminary. The world without a light, without a luminary, cannot accept it. Doesn't make any sense. And this is the reason that this light was concealed, really. What is it from the world perspective? A light without a luminary. Effectively, a light makes it possible to see. Therefore, the effect of this light, which is to be able to see your way around, is there. But the reason, the means by which you see, but you don't know how come you see.
Again, what the effect is,
The effect of light for the world is to be able to see the world.
but the mechanism or why or how is not known.
It's not known,
So
it's
fine.
not there.
Yeah, so this is illustrating.
This is like the order of light.
This is without the source.
Huh?
You're saying this is like the Yom Rishon without seeing this, the source.
In Yom Rishon, there was no luminary.
Without the luminary, sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So
fine.
you're able to have the effect of light, but you don't have the essence of light, the intangibility, the identification. You can grasp what is this light about. The effect of it that you are able to see the world. But you could not identify it from the worldly perspective.
And this we call hara or no?
Yeah. I was thinking this would be called a hara. Hara means the effect of it without its presence. Initially, I thought of a different way of arousing us to the concept of power, which is also valid. But that is a little bit more difficult to pin down. We know that we ourselves orient ourselves by day much more effectively than by night. The fact that it is day in the general world gives us a sense that yes, we could orient, we could get around. Even though you need a light to be able to go around. But the principle that it is day all over already has an effect on the person that he does not feel lost by day as at night. Perhaps because he knows that if he steps outside, he would experience day. But even without that, it's a different period.
Does the concept of day relate in any way with the light of the first day?
I know actually the concept of day.
When you say day, when you're talking about when we live.
Day is light. Hashem called light. When light was created, that light was called day. And we explained that day is a light that encompasses the entire creation, the entire being.
Okay.
It is not a focused light. So therefore, ha'ora means a problem. Even though that I cannot see, principally, factually, these particular things I want to see. But I know that in the world in general, I happen to be in a situation I can't see. But the world in general is illuminated. And this gives me a sense of orientation, a possibility of orientation, even for the specific things that I don't see. How do we pin this down? We said that in the dark, What is the means that a person can get around in the dark? By touch. When a person walks around by touch, he feels the table, he feels the chair, he feels and so forth. And that leads him to where he wants to go. There is a difference in the person's orientation. If, in fact, he knows what the table looks like, even though he doesn't at this moment see it, or he does not know what it looks like. When he knows what it looks like, when he touches it, it produces the reality of the table as if he sees it. Because from the touch he projects on what it looks like. When it's in the dark and he does not know what it looks like, he only has this particular moment, this particular point that he is touching. Doesn't project him through the entire structure of the table.
Right.
So therefore, what is this knowledge? What is this sight, quote unquote, of the table in the dark? This is called the ha'ora of light. In light, I see the entire table. And this is and clearly because it's illuminated. Now I don't see the table, but I still project, and I still have the table in my mind as if I see it. The effect of this sightfulness. That's called the ha'ora. This ha'ora is extremely important in ruchnius, as we see here. The ha'ora of Oil Makif. I cannot identify it directly. Nonetheless, it tells me that I'm not here in the dark world. That there is an Oil Makif that encompasses everything. That there is a likus in the world. That has a profound effect in the change of orientation in a person. Even though it doesn't translate, so to speak, through his koiches of sight and hearing. So this is what the Rebbe says. The ha'ora of this gilin, the ha'ora of the Adam Kadmon, to know that in fact this world is encompassed by likus. And is given a godly significance by this encompassment. That lifts the entire world up to a different level. And that is what enables AYIN to actually cleave to godliness and to strive to it. Because in a certain sense he feels its presence. All right, let us go down to the fourth line in Ois Samachal. The Kolechad Yachad Mi Yisrael, a ha'ora of this oil. Again, now we have the sense of ha'ora means the effect of its presence, even though I don't see it, is present in every Yid, beneath his nishmos, in the spark of his neshama. And therefore, the effect of it is that we call him that he wants to be connected and want with Abayech.
Again, the line starting. Thank you.
Fourth line.
Fourth line. Okay.
You have it?
Yeah.
Huh? This is it's called kala. This is what it is reflected in the neshama, in the form that the neshama is constantly in a strive to be united with the Elokus. The Yahav can we have that towards the end of that line? The Yahav and this Ahava essentially is a strive, a desire to connect. Yesh b'koyach b'kol echad Yisrael. He's present in the koyach of every Yid. We already discussed koyach in many different occasions. The koyach means what is the underpinning, what is the sense of life in the Yid. This Ahav. Bitmidus, on a constant basis. Ukmeisha, of course, what the Pasuk says, the man is a mechakod v'lo yidei. So that is a mechakod, it will give you present, v'lo yidei, praise, v'lo yidei, and will not subside. Kori todi v'shogich. It is arousing and calling all the time, and it does not stop. Even on a lowly people, and Amheoretz and total ignoramuses, who do not have any intellectual function. Nonetheless, yesh b'chinozu, even by them there is this quality. Rakak said, Sheina b'his galus b'hikesher v'nafshim tom. It is not in a sensed revelation, a real state in their nefesh. But it is definitely there. But geshes means sensed. They feel that they have this door, they don't feel that there is door. Rak musteres, it is, however, musteres concealed, b'bchinas makiv, in a makiv manner. Makiv, again, now we have the definition of how makiv means it is there without being able to fully identify it. This is the truth. It is daytime, but I don't see anything as a result. This is a makif. Shomer alehem milmayl, that is protecting them and watching them and encompassing them milmayl from above. This godly presence. So therefore, in essence, from the makif perspective, they are constantly within the divine reality. This is their reality. And for this reason, Yesh b'koyach kol echad yachad miYisrael. It is within the capacity of every Yid. V'imsor nafshu yakidush Hashem, to actually to give himself his life over Akidush Hashem. Bli shum tam v'das hasogas elokus, without any reasoning, without any means by which he understands what elokus is. Rak, only b'bchinas emunah, what is called emunah. We discussed emunah a little bit yesterday. It's in an emunah manner. Emunah is also a conscious aspect in the seichel order, but it is a conscious aspect in the seichel without the justification, without the reasoning. It's just recognizing what it is without reasoning. How come it's there, and how come I see it? Hainu, which means shehu he makifo milmayla min haseichel. That this oir, And this desire to cleave to Lakus is Makifoi, embraces him milmayla min haseichel, from coming from a higher sentient seichel. It is not something that is the result of his understanding. It is something which encompasses his seichel itself. It causes his seichel to see that which a seichel on its own would not see. Okay, we'll skip the next line. The end of the line, B'shoevesh hu amunah v'neshama Yisrael, the root of the amunah. Where does amunah come from? V'neshama Yisrael. This question, the root of the amunah, is in aftermath, having said that the amunah is not the result of the intellectual process. It is not the result of the intellect proving to you that here is a lakus. It is not at all that. It is a direct connect, a direct knowledge. How does one know directly a lakus? By being in the Word, in the Shom. The root of that is who it is mishum the mazle chozi. It is due to the fact that mazle, the mazel of the neshama, sees a lakus. So this we first encountered yesterday, and we have to discuss this a little bit. What is the mazel of the neshama? Mazel chozi. The mazel of the neshama sees a lakus. I'd like to go back. Perhaps we can identify this in a close up. Go back to what we said before, that in daytime, or when you use the meaning from sight, even when you touch something in the dark, and you know what it looks like, you're projecting its appearance even though you don't see it. The reason you projected its appearance is due to the fact that you know what it looks like. And you're actually relating to it at that level. Not what you're feeling in the touch, but what it looks like. Now, if we recognize this Indian, it behooves us to ask a question. Since I'm touching it, the touch is a very real experience. Why would I then go and try to project what it looks like? I don't see it. Why projecting to look at it some kind of makes it more real than the touch which I am actually touching? Interesting question.
Yeah.
And here is the answer I'd like to be sure to understand. Very important principle. Understand the difference between touch and sight. Touch identifies itself as, yes, for sure there is something here. I'm feeling, I'm touching it. This Indian that by touch I know that there is something there is actually a proof of its presence. Not its real presence, it's a proof of its presence. Since I feel it with my hand, it has to be something there. Not relating to the presence itself. I'm relating how it affects me, have proof of it. Sight is a completely different level. I speak about it all the time. Sight is, you see the reality of the Indian itself. Which is why sight is most convincing to a person than any other experience. Because in sight, you don't see just the way the things affect you. but you see the reality of it itself. This Indian, to see the reality, clearly is of tremendous significance in a person's life. This, in fact, places him squarely in the midst of reality. It's a real world. In the dark, which has no idea what it looks like, he is not in the real world. He is just in the world that he feels around. The real world is if it's real, you see it. Sight, step back one second. Sight is a means of observing, of recognizing the presence without being affected by it. You don't touch it. If you're not affected by it, how can you be convinced of its presence? You're not being affected by it. The answer is, here's the important thing, that in sight, you know its presence because of itself, because of what it tells you, not because of what you are experiencing. When you know something because you experienced it, it's a secondary level of knowledge. Knowing the thing directed by what it tells you, this is knowing the thing itself. The world is a divine creation. A divine creation means that it is real at the divine level. God created it. This is real, much more real than what the world can control, can prove. It's true because God said so. Raymond came here, and God himself named it. He says, yes, it's a real thing. This reality of the world, as expressed and as identified as a divine creation, not as a presence in the world, this will be related to by sight. This is why when we see it's real, even though it doesn't affect us. It is real because God said it's there. It's a real creation. Touch which I know by touch is a step down. That I see the world, but where does the world come from? God must have created it. It's not the same thing at all. It's indirectly connected to the divine creation. Whereas in sight, it's directly connected to the divine creation. That's why it's so real. You see, from Mazle Chosed, Mazle, what's a Mazle? Mazle means the source of its creation. The divine element. What makes a neshama a neshama? Where does the neshama come from? The neshama is a divine spirit given from God. Mazle is the source of that gift. Sensing that this neshama has a source that causes as we said the other day, God says you are here. That gives it a completely different sense of reality orientation than that which gets by personal experience. This Mazle Chosed, this Mazle means the source of the neshama sees the truth of Elokus. This is a completely different presentation to the neshama than what the neshama itself can experience. In effect, The neshama can experience all kinds of different things. But how come I'm experiencing it? Just like when you touch. Oh, I touch it. But how come it's there? How come it's there? It's not due to the fact I don't identify by touch. It's there because I know that it been created. It was there. It is brought there. It is there because of some other reason, some other significance why it should be there. Not the touch. That significance is what's called the divine level of it. It is a divine level of the entity that gives it real reality. We speak about this in the simplest level, a plain human level. When you have a room furnished appropriately, the furnishing is physical entities, tables and chairs. But the fact that it's organized in a certain way that is accommodating to a human presence gives it a totally different sense of reality. There's a reason why it's there, not just the fact of its physicality. This reason why it's there is infinitely superior to its physicality presence. The reason why it's there means that it exists before it came there. There's a concept behind it. Completely different sense of reality. This is the pshat. The neshama has a set. The neshama has a mazel, has a source. Why is the neshama there? The neshama is there because God wants it. Not because it's there, because God wants it. This is divine command that the neshama should be, which is called mazel. At that level of mazel, the neshama, the mazel sees the whole truth of what it's all about. Who brought me here? How come I'm here? There's a divine element in this presence. Because it is a divine element in this presence, due to this consciousness, due to this effect, the neshama knows it's bound up with the lakus through and through. It is ready for Mesiras Nefesh. Because that is the reality behind its whole existence. And the entire world, see if we can relate to this, the entire world, it has a reality in my eyes because the entire world is also divine creation, not because I see it and I touch it. That's what we said before. When you see an orderly, a human reality has a different sense of reality than the presence of a physical entity. This is the pshat. This is the root of the emunah and the shomesh yesod. Okay, we're on the third line from the bottom. The shoyla shel emunah and the shomesh yesod. The root of the emunah and the shomesh yesod, who mishum gemaz leichos. It is not something that the neshama says, but rather it is the mazel of the neshama. Where the neshama comes from, the reality of the neshama. V'zehu b'sheidesh hanshama b'lamayla. And this is an experience and a truth that is present in the shoylish and the shama, the root of the shama l'mayla.